Are you familiar with the term harbingers of failure? See, when launching a new product, researchers have figured out that buyers can largely be grouped into two sets of people. Harbingers of success are the group of buyers that more consistently choose a product that will still be available for sale in 3 years. On the flip side are the buyers who more consistently buy a product that ends up being discontinued, and these are called harbingers of failure. Researchers noticed that if a lot of harbingers of failure would buy a product and continue to do so, that product would have less than a 10% survival rate on the market. My dear listeners, I'm sorry to report to you that when it comes to picking live service games to sink time, money, and effort into, I fit squarely into the harbingers of failure category. But luckily for you, I can use this unique trait, or hey, let's just call it a skill, to tell you the next big live service game that is unfortunately most likely to be discontinued. So first things first, why am I convinced that I am one of these so-called harbingers of failure? Let's take a look back at some of the live service games that I've played in the recent years that I've been most excited to play and sink time, money, and effort into, and see if there's a common element among all of them. First, let's talk about a MOBA that is near and dear to my heart, Heroes of the Storm. Many of you may know it as the Blizzard MOBA. This was a game that was a much less competitive than League of Legends and had a lower bar of entry on the mechanical side, so it's less intimidating, and I picked it up as the first MOBA that I really put a lot of time, effort. It was a game that some of my friends were playing, and though we had pretty varying skill levels, it was always fun to have everyone jump on Discord and fire up a few rounds of Heroes of the Storm. I still wish I was running around with Lily spamming heal on my friends sometimes, but alas, those days are long gone. Unfortunately, the game was extremely free-to-play friendly, but didn't require the massive fan base that it needs for that to survive, and ultimately it made no money and the game died. Now, I didn't only play MOBAs. I also played card games, and I'm pretty sure my experiences with this genre are what sold me that, in fact, I might be one of these harbingers of failure. I initially played Hearthstone. I was a Blizzard fan at the time, so you could probably tell from my interest in Heroes of the Storm, but I never really got super into Hearthstone. It was a fun mobile game that I could play while commuting to work, but I found the game to be very pay-to-winny and very expensive to keep up with. It also felt very random to me, and I was looking for something that was a little bit more competitive, and I felt that I could really outskill my opponents in. So I dropped Hearthstone pretty quickly and found the next game that would be my obsession, The Elder Scrolls Legends. This was a card game that I felt fixed all the issues I had with Hearthstone. I didn't have to spend endless amounts of money, and I could unlock most of the cards I needed to compete just by playing regularly. And there was a ton of different strategies and decks, and best of all, I could create my own decks and I didn't have to rely on online lists to make it to the master rank in the game. It made no money and the game died. I played Gwent afterwards, it made no money and the game died. I found Legends of Runeterra. Now this one was for sure going to be the next great card game. I played it to Legend rank most seasons starting in beta. Not only was the game designed to be competitive, it was also designed to be free to play with cosmetics, the same way League of Legends continues to run to this day. Also, it had the massive bankroll of Riot behind it, producing extremely high quality art, sounds, designs, animations. No way that this game could have made no money and the game died. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, you picked a stinker MOBA, and most card games die anyway, don't they? That doesn't really say much, does it? Well, then let me tell you about the next game I played and fell in love with spending money, time, effort, and eventually making it to the lofty diamond ranks of this amazing platform fighter. But you probably already know where this is going. Now, I've loved fighting games since I used to follow my brother out of the house and across busy streets, but that's a story for another time, to the local 7-Eleven to watch the big kids playing Street Fighter 2. In 2009, when Street Fighter 4 came out, that was what I became the fighting game community, or the FGCC, referred to as an 09er. Basically someone who tried to get to compete in fighting games starting in 2009. I kind of can't believe that was 16 years ago, but anyway. I love fighting games, and I would play a number of them competitively and casually throughout the years, but the most recent one that I loved was a game by the name of Multiverses. Just like most of the other games, I got into this one starting in the beta and became obsessed. I was putting money, I was grinding ranked mode. This was going to be a game that was going to succeed for sure. It was like Smash Brothers, but even better, and it had the financial backing of Warner Brothers Studios. It made no money and the game died. I think it's time for some light at the end of this dark tunnel we've been going down. If you care at all about some of these games continuing to be playable after the developers in support, you should follow the Stop Killing Games movement. They're looking to accomplish is to make it so that live service games, when the developers in support, the community can pick up right where the devs left off and host their own service and basically keep the majority of the gameplay still accessible to users. I fully support this mission. I'll put some links in the description so you can get more information on the subject. Now, before I get into the game that I've been focusing on lately, I just want to get into some full disclosure. I'm mostly doing a bit here. While every game I love does eventually die, I'm not seriously saying that the game I predict is 100% likely to fail. I do see some warning signs, which I'll talk about soon, but I am no way saying stop supporting this game or don't buy this game. I'm just reflecting on my recent experiences with live services games here. Please do not take this mostly comedic video at face value. It's made for entertainment purposes only. Well, I guess I buried the lead enough, so I'll just go right into it. What is the game that I'm currently spending a lot of time, effort, and money on, and I think could honestly be the next big live service game to die? Reynard's The Bazaar. Reynard is a Twitch streamer slash esports CEO slash game designer slash producer who I first learned about from watching his Hearthstone streams. He eventually grew frustrated with the game and set out to produce his own video game in response, which I give full kudos to. It's super easy to be on the sidelines saying what someone else should have or could have done better, but in my opinion, it gives me a lot of respect when someone pulls a Thanos and just says, fine, I'll do it myself, and then actually does it. The Bazaar is a really fun auto battler. It has great visuals, great production, interesting characters, mechanics, and is competitively balanced. It's hooked me, and it has all the things I look for when deciding where to put my very limited time, effort, and money into a game. That said, they haven't really seemed to figure out their monetization scheme. I don't want to get into all the details because that's not really what this video is about. And also, to be honest, I am just not a monetization expert. I'm not even picking a surviving game expert. In fact, I'm the reverse of that. But I will link a few videos in the description to people who have a much better grasp of the situation than me. But I will say that I am super excited about the new upcoming character Stell, but I'm less excited about the monetization changes that they've just announced. Also, it being launched on Steam, but not as a free-to-play game anymore, but as a fully paid $45 game. It seems to be the third time they've completely changed the game's monetization model since the game launched just this year, and I'm sorry to say, but it's really got my Harbinger of Failure sensors tingling. Again, I truly hope the best for the Bazaar, and I think I will continue to play it. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong about this one. And if not, well, I'll be jumping on the riot fighting game 2XK, which is coming out in September. So maybe my curse will transfer to that game and leave Reynard alone. Sorry, Tom Gannon. Thanks for staying with me through this, and please like and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of thing.